and the lightning strikes right by you, and you don't know what to do, 'cause it takes you away from you.
All right, well, my guest today is Nicki White, singer-songwriter from right here in the Heartland. My name is Diana Ennis. I am the co-founder and director of the Heartland Song Network. And like I said, Nicki is our Artist of the Month for June 2021. Welcome, Nicki. Are you in your home studio?
I am at my dear friend Alan Winkler's studio and home that he owns. So we've kind of created our own studio space in Kansas City.
Where are you from originally? Are you from Alabama? I mean, it seems to me I recall some kind of a Muscle Shoals or Alabama connection.
No, I'm not from Alabama. I'm from Kansas City. I grew up in the Raymore peculiar area, so Cass County area. And then I've just slowly migrated to Kansas City, downtown Westport area. But I moved, okay, so my dad's girlfriend lives in Alabama in Muscle Shoals, and he moved there with her in 2010, I believe, and that's when I graduated high school. So I was like not knowing what I wanted to, where I wanted to go for school and what I wanted to do. So he was like, I visited the town and he showed me Muscle Shoals. There's a lot of, songwriters, like a lot of talent there.
Well, it has such a long and storied history. I just
Yeah.
interviewed Chad Elliott, and his last record is called Singing River, and it's an homage to the river that runs right by Muscle Shoals. And he recorded his last album there at Fame Studios and used a couple of the original Swampers. So,
yeah.
You've been on hallowed ground when you've been in Muscle Shoals.
Yes. Okay. So my dad's girlfriend lives on the Singing River, and I actually have a song too called the Singing River Song because I was living with him. So I visited there, and I met some people that, like, the people that you posted in that picture. I'm like, how does she know them? That was so crazy to me. I was like, oh my God, I know them. And so yeah, so I moved there and I went to school there for a year and a half at UNA, University of North Alabama. And so I got to live there and do some songwriter rounds and stuff with some people who, played with Allman Brother Band and stuff like that, or wrote with them. And just an array of amazing, just humble people that I got to see at 17, 18 years old, where, I was like, this is the type of like people I want to surround myself with.
That explains a lot to me then about how, when I first came to know your music, the kind of the soulful edge that I feel is there. And it's not swampiness so much as it's just this kind of really authentic, grounded, soulful place. And this explains that to me. You've spent some formative, instructive time in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, which is an amazing place. It's probably a portal to whole nother world or dimensions that we don't even know about. So how has your upbringing influenced the music that you are creating today?
My upbringing. So my mom and my dad, my parents are very musical people, very passionate about music, have really great ears. My mom plays the flute. She can play piano, but she plays flute wonderfully. And I lived in like two different households, they split up before I was born, I believe. But yeah, I got two different households of my dad playing guitar and blaring on his amp, and then my mom, I'd come home to my mom's for the week and she would be giving flute lessons, and then she played flute in our church, in the church band, and our church band was amazing. And so I sang in the church And I
So was your first instrument the flute or the guitar? Or neither, the piano? Your first instrument?
piano was my first instrument, I think. Yeah, that was my first instrument. And then I was just always singing, always. And I still am, you know.
Did you have lessons? Did you have the iconic quintessential piano lessons from the blue-haired lady down the street that had a ruler that rapped you on the knuckles?
It was kind of like that. And yeah, it didn't last. My piano lessons didn't last
There's
because
usually no joy in piano lessons. So there's just
uh,
not happening.
it was very intimidating to me. I was 5 or 6 when I had my first piano lesson, and I don't know how long they lasted, but I remember feeling very intimidated, like
I lasted all of 2 piano lessons. I could not grasp the concept, and
yeah.
that kind of ruined me from ever learning another instrument or taking any lessons. The only lessons I ever ended up taking were baton lessons, baton twirling lessons.
How fun though.
I had a lot of fun. I can still do my original routine when I was 9 years old. But I think that's why I've always had such an appreciation for musicians and people that can write songs and play instruments, because it is something that I can't do. If I can do it, I've not tried for the last 60 years, to do it. So maybe one day. I've got a ukulele that Danny gave me for my birthday last year in the hopes that maybe I would learn, but I still haven't done it. So your mentors or your original musical influences were your mom on flute and your dad on guitar, and I heard church in there as well.
And my sisters. I have to admit,
sisters?
I have 3 sisters. And so my oldest sister, Allie, she plays saxophone, and she can play drums and just a lot of different instruments. So and then my other sister, Anna, she sings, and my youngest sister, Donnie, she sings too. So yeah, like, I guess we are a musical family.
Did you ever have a family band? Have you ever
No.
performed as a family?
Well, actually, yes, we have. My very first recital that I did with my guitar lessons with my teacher, Cindy Ager, who still teaches, I believe, in Kansas City. She did recitals every month at the Tune Shop in Prairie Village.
Yes, that's where my son took guitar lessons. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So and they had recitals in the basement. So my first recital, I was very, very nervous, and I was 15, I believe. And my mom got up and played flute with me on that recital. But then also recently in 2017, I had her and Allie, my sister, play. It's on YouTube. There's a few videos of them playing with me in the gospel lounge.
You're pretty much flying solo these days, but for this new collaboration that you have with the percussionist. But I think when I first met you, you may have been in Rivertown or maybe another rock group before that. So you have played in a group setting, but you're
Yes.
not doing that now. What made you decide, the group thing's really not so much for me, or is it still? What is it just easier? Is it just easier to navigate and book yourself as a solo artist?
I think what it was I was in Darling Nikki with Adam Watson and Jake Cavisto, and it was so much fun because we did funk and blues and country, and it was just so much fun. But I think what it was I saw myself as, I write a lot, and I kind of always have. And I think my songwriting was so, I want to say, eclectic, that it didn't really fit in with the funk and blues and stuff like that. And that's really, I think that's, their wheelhouse. Not saying, maybe I'm wrong, but, so I felt like I needed to be with someone who is open to all sorts of avenues instead of like worldly music, and you know what I mean, like all different sorts of avenues. But maybe that was just a conversation I needed to have with them. But
Yeah, well, I think, and I hate to sound like a school teacher or whatever, but I think it depends on whether you're a goal setting person. If you have certain goals that you want to achieve, no matter what it is, and you write them down or you visualize them, and whatever you're doing right now is not, serving that goal, then you probably should not be doing it. You should make a change. What's a typical day for you like?
so since March, I'm with Alan right now. So I'm looking at him, my friend Alan. So we've been recording actually. So I haven't really been like necessarily writing lyrically, but we've been learning how to record ourselves and exploring that since March. So that a typical day, like today, I went to Tai Chi in the morning and we came to the studio and we've been working on reggae right now, reggae dub, and mixing it and editing it and adding all these effects to it. And so, yeah, we come in to the studio and we work from till 4 o'clock till I have to go get my son from school, or till I need to go home, and cook dinner or whatever. So a typical day is I come over here and we record and we talk about life and just hang out and have a good time. And then sometimes I have a gig or I'm hanging out with my family.
You are open to collaboration then, of course.
Yeah.
And you're doing that now. So we're really looking forward to having you as our first guest when we start up the Bloody Mary morning thing again in July, so that we can see what this new collaboration looks like,
Oh yeah.
in the flesh. It'll be fun. Many artists that I am getting to know a little bit better are pursuing multiple art forms at the same time, like visual arts as well. People like Chad Elliott that illustrates and sculpts and paints. Do you have any other media that you like to work in, or is music it for you? I mean, it's enough. Do you dabble in paints? And
I do. I wouldn't say I'm an artist. Like, I'm looking at Alan because he is constantly creating things. But yeah, I mean, I am an artist. I can't say that I'm not. I do like to paint. Right now, I'm working on this. I like collages, actually. I've discovered I like making collages out of, and I'm definitely inspired by Alan because he recycles, and that's kind of what a lot of the times he'll use recyclable items. Am I right?
he repurposes them, finds a new purpose for them. Yeah.
Yes. And so I'm working on this collage right now that's from like cardboard and stuff like that. So yeah, I do need, and I like to skateboard too. So I haven't done that in a while because, I'm raising a child. So
Yeah.
So here's an example of one of his instruments.
Oh yeah.
So that's from
It reminds me of the tinsel on that we used to have on Christmas trees 100 years ago.
Yes. And it sounds to me like trees, like leaves, like.
Oh yeah, the rustling. Yes.
It does. So that's just a little, and that is, I am very inspired by nature as well. And I think that has a lot of influence on me.
What music are you listening to now?
Well,
what's on I hate to give Spotify any props at all, but I mean, if you're on those kind of platforms, do you like to put playlists together and what, I mean, I've heard you talk about reggae and funk and soul and
yes.
What are you listening to for your own listening pleasure right now?
Well, I get in when I'm in my car, I listen to 90.1 KKFI a lot, and The Bridge, and I listen to everything. When people ask me like, who's your favorite artist,
I
I
can't
feel,
answer that question ever.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm all over the place too.
yeah. I think a lot of people nowadays are, because there's just so much to. How can you not be inspired by?
Well, it's a quandary because I know people that are in my generation that have never broken out of the classic rock era.
Yeah,
That's what we grew up with. I mean, we grew up in the 60s and 70s, and gosh, I hate to ever generalize about anything, but it's
yeah,
mostly guys in my life that are my age that just won't listen to anything else except classic rock music. I'm saying, you guys, you are missing so much creativity and beauty and wonderment out there. Uh,
Aw.
is there an artist working today that you think is really especially important?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay, so I know this is gonna sound generic, but I I think it is essential for people who have an artist mind or knack, or like they want to create something. I think it's essential for every artist. I think every artist is important. Every single artist is important. I truly believe that. So um but I do have to give recognition to Alan, because he is constantly expanding my mind. Like, he is my mentor right now, so, and my friend, and
Alan's last name is
Winkler.
Alan
And
Winkler.
he he's like your friend Chad Elliott, who he's a sculptor. I mean, he makes his own plates and cups and mugs and shirts, and he can sew. And you were talking earlier about visualization and stuff, and I actually manifested him into my life, because I wrote in my phone, and this is actually thanks to Sarah Morgan, because we sat down for coffee one time, and she's like, what are you doing right now? She's always asking me that. What are you doing right now? And like, what do you want to do? And she sent me her goals and her list one time, and I said, okay, so I need to do this too. And yeah, I manifested Alan into my life. Like, I want someone who is humble and open and creative, a creative genius, who is akin to the hard work that I long for, who's in the music industry to heal and inspire. And that's exactly who he is. It's crazy.
And
It's
well,
crazy that
I remember reading some books by an author back in the 70s when I was your age, that really had a profound effect on me too. And kind of one of the building blocks of her philosophy was you create your own reality, and you just have to do that. You have to be very mindful of what it is you want and don't want in your life, and that
yeah,
you are the one that's responsible for it. There's some things that you don't have control over, but to
right.
a very, very great extent, you have control over what your reality is and how you react to things. And that was a really important concept, and kind of a foreign concept to me at that point in my life. I just felt like everything happened to me, and that I didn't have any control over over anything, and
Yeah.
just kind of lost. And that really, at that point, I needed to hear that, and it set me on a course of action and a lifestyle and a life attitude that has stood me in good stead for the last now almost 50 years. So yeah, I get it. I really, really get it. So how are you doing? I mean, this pandemic, I mean, you perform in venues that were not open for almost a year. What did you do?
My God.
I mean, I started a nonprofit during a pandemic, and
Yes, that I love to hear that, and I'm so glad that you stayed safe, and thank God that, you know, I still have my family members. They stayed safe, and yeah, so what I did was the week before, or a couple weeks before the pandemic happened, I decided I was going to stop drinking, and so I don't drink anymore, and so I started meditating a lot. I meditated like, I remember I would sometimes meditate for an hour.
I couldn't do
Like,
that. At this age, I would just fall asleep, I'm afraid, which, you know, is not a bad thing. I mean, that's one of the things I've learned during this pandemic. I mean, we did get COVID in January, and it was really scary. And kind of the long-term effect of that for me is extreme fatigue that hits me really quickly. And
yeah,
I can go to sleep now any time of the day. It doesn't matter. And when I feel it, you know, I just kind of got to go lay down and let it happen.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
that is a huge thing, commitment to stop drinking or smoking or even coffee, you know, any addiction, you know, any stimulation like that is really,
It,
really hard to do.
it is really, really difficult. And I did stop drinking coffee too. And I was drinking like espressos, like like dirty chais, like every day. And I still do now, but not every day, just every once in a
Yeah.
while. Like, but I did. So I stopped drinking caffeine, alcohol, I stopped smoking weed, if I can say that. But so I was completely clear. And that's what I wanted. I wanted to be clear and just sit and listen and just kind of go into myself. So yeah, that I loved it. I actually loved it.
I think that for those of you that are generative artists and are creatives, it gave you the opportunity to reset if you needed to. For those that were on the road all the time and touring and missing if they had kids at home, missing all of their children's events and then growing up. And I think a lot of people that are creatives are reevaluating how they were living their lives before, and this is a chance, you know, to retool. So it sounds like it's a positive experience for you all around.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was. It
good,
was.
good. Let's see. I want to ask you, what advice would you give to the 18-year-old Nicki White?
Oh my God, you're gonna make me cry. Oh
Because
man.
it's not that, I mean, you know, for me, the 18-year-old is 50 years ago. I really, oh my God. I don't even, I think about it all the time when I would tell my 18-year-old self.
I'm crying because 18-year-old Nicki.
Shall we move forward to 21-year-old Nicki?
I mean, 18-year-old Nicki was so lost.
Yeah.
And I would tell her to just keep going and never give up.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
No, and you know, it happens more than once. I mean,
And that everything,
I've got, you know, 30 or 40 years on you, and let me tell you, it's gonna happen some more, you know. And oh my gosh, what you've just been through in the last year. I mean, you've been through a pandemic with a 3-year-old or however old he is.
yeah,
You
I've
know,
been through a lot.
we've all been through a lot. And
Yeah.
so you have to be good to yourself. And I'm so happy to hear that you are taking good care. Meditation, yoga, any self-care that you can give yourself. We deserve it. You deserve it. Don't ever feel guilty about doing it, because your son and your husband and your family need Nicki present.
Exactly.
And
Exactly.
you can't do that if you're not taking care of yourself. You know?
Preach.
Preach. Well, that's kind of all the questions I had today. I didn't mean to make you cry.
It's okay.
It's,
Mind it.
yeah, I'm just
It's
really looking forward to what's next from you. And like I said, whatever we can do to help you through education, collaboration, or mentorship. If you think there's somebody that we might be, if there's a collaboration you want to do and you don't know that person, you know, maybe we can help make an introduction or something like that. I just wanted, one of the things I noticed, and maybe I'm missing it, when I go to your website, I can't find a section on about you or a bio for you. Is that by design? Is that do you want your music just to speak for itself and we're supposed to figure it out, or?
Yes, one of my favorite artists, his name is Ben Howard and he's from the UK, and I totally copied him. I was like, I went on his website, and because that's one of the things I think that Sarah told me to do was go and look at your favorite artists' websites and see what they're doing and stuff like that. And so I saw that he didn't have a bio on his, and I was like, yes, like, first of all, I have this, it's hard for me to like wrap my head around all that I've been through. And I don't know how to, like, sometimes I don't know how to explain my music because it's constantly like, I'm always,
Evolving.
yeah.
I just was curious about that. You've answered my question. You know, you were kind of shadowing what an artist is doing that you admire, and he's not doing that. I'm looking
Yeah.
so forward to seeing your collaboration with Alan on
Oh yeah.
our Bloody Mary morning thing.
Oh, I think you will love it. You will love it.
So Nicki White, we're going to go out of here talking about your goals for the future, both for the short term and the long term. What would be some 1-year goals for you?
So this year, my goal is to just complete my musical project, which is my album. And that's my main goal. A year from now, I'm going to go back to school and complete my recording arts program certificate. So, yeah, that's it. And then also,
And to get a recording arts certificate, for what reason? So that you are more comfortable when you're recording your own thing, you're more knowledgeable about the process, or do you want to produce other people's work?
I can see myself recording other people's work. I don't know if I would necessarily produce, like tell people you should do this or that, but in a collaborative exchange, I would. But definitely to go back, because there's so much to it. Like right now, I don't know, I'm struggling with like mixing and like what levels each track needs to be at. So yeah, so go back to school and just get more experience in the studio there.
The record that you're talking about, the record that you're going to do, what are your plans for the record? Are you going to want to release it to radio? Are you going to tour in support of it? What are you hoping to do with the new record?
I definitely want to send it out to radio. I kind of honestly, like, I have these goals, right? Like complete my musical project this year. And then I take it one day at a time and just try to see what I need to do that day.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And I don't know if I plan on touring, honestly, because it's so expensive. And
It's expensive, and it's so hard. And you've got a little one. And
I do.
I mean, even if you've got a lot of help, it's hard.
Exactly. I'm not opposed to traveling some here and there, but I don't know if I could call it a tour.
Well, I think that the thing about the Heartland, we talk about this too, is that it is very possible to make a good living touring just in this 4-state area.
Mm-hmm.
Chad Elliott is a master at it, and he barely leaves Iowa. And he's supporting a wife and 3 children doing what he does. Now he's got other multiple revenue streams because he's also a visual artist
Right,
and he's
right.
an author. But that's another thing to consider. If you have other artistic abilities, there's more than one revenue stream to consider. I have given myself a lot to think about on how to help you, and hopefully given you some things to think about. And thank you for your support of the Heartland Song Network by being a member and being our Artist of the Month for June. Great stuff. And I look forward to meeting Alan too,
Yeah,
sooner
yeah.
rather than later.
I do him real quick.
Yeah. Hi, Alan.
Well, hello, hello. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well. Thank you for taking such good care of my friend, Nicki White.
Oh, she's very talented, and we are really creating. So I can't wait for you to hear what we've
I
been
can't
doing.
wait to hear it. We're going to be so blessed and grateful to be able to experience that. So that's July the 10th, I think. So that'll be here before we know it. Well, thank you so much, Nicki
Okay.
and Alan.
Here's
and,
Nicki. I'll talk to you later.
All right. Have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you soon. And I'll send you an email with all these links, okay?
Thank
All right. Talk to you later.
One quick fix.